today's session of the knowledge series, we have with us Dr. C. Manohar. He is president of an organization called Enable. Now, this organization is called Enterprise Network for Academic and Business Linkage. It tries to create linkage between the academic, the industry, and the student. And interestingly, he is also the executive director and dean of a very famous institute, which is having 4 campuses. The institute's name is Institute of Business Management and Research. Today, he has given us some time to talk about the management education. How are you talking about it?
Well, fine. Thank you very much. Management education today has become much more relevant than ever before. Of course, we do know the prestigious institutions delivering for the last several decades. But today, all those institutions and the new stream, the new breed institutions that have come, have to accept the responsibility to consider management just as not another subject of managing businesses, but today management has become a behavioral science, it has become a social science, it's become all pervasive in every single field or activity that we go through. It has to touch the lives of people, not just the businesses, but look at the social organization, look at the economic management that we have, look at the politics, look at everything, development. So we do need management today as I would say it has to be imbibed into the veins of a manager as such. So we have to look at management as all pervasive and is required knowledge and the skill, I would say. So we have to go beyond the traditional and conventional content of a management course as such. Today it has to be very dynamic. So nothing like a static content or a syllabus for a management degree today. Because we see the changes in the world globally. It's happening today. Globe is considered a village and the village is considered a globe. So everything is happening everywhere. So we need to inculcate those requirements and then bring into the content of management courses today what really connects this manager to the society at the other end. So then the management courses become very valuable. Does not mean that it is an unstructured course development. It has to be structured. We have a lot of values and the content that we have to inherit and we have to adapt from the available literature and the existing courses, but we need to add a lot more things. So one part of the management education has to be continuously updating and upgrading, keep connecting with the society to the everyday needs. So that is what today's management, any course that should bring a student, I would say.
I'd like to ask you something from the perspective of a person who's aspiring to be a future manager. What do you think the current landscape tells you? What is the prospect for an MBA education in India? What is the prospect for a student who goes through an MBA education?
That's very interesting. Today, the way we look at things, the way the student registration is happening for MBA, the way the capacities are being created in the management schools, it looks like that everybody wants to do MBA. But the motivation to do the MBA, the real need and the the involvement and the engagement of the student to take up that is yet to be felt. MBA is considered to be one of the high-end course and that fetches them good jobs and better salaries and better quality of living. It's not necessarily so. But then if they come with that kind of an expectation and when they are not getting fully engaged in the learning process and later when they go to the field and if they don't get placed what suits their attitude and they are going to be disappointed. Then they start blaming the education system, they start blaming the institution and the course itself. So what we need to do is, looking at the volume and the size of the population that is wanting to do today, we still have to have some very good system. We do have a lot of systems, we have attitudinal test, aptitudinal test, all these things are, in spite of all these things, you look at the other side, the industry complaining that no more than a quarter of the products that come out of these colleges are employable readily. Why is, in spite of all these kind of filters that we have, the tests that we do and the courses we deliver, end of the day, then they come out of the channel, then the industry complains that we can't take everybody because they're not suited to our requirements. So there are two things here. One, what we deliver during the program. Two, what were the aspirations and the expectations of the students when they came in, and then how much are they absorbing in the whole system, and as they come out, what is that they are capable to deliver. So it's important that we, it's a great scope. The scope is unlimited. India is growing, the economy is growing, India is well integrated with the global economy today. India has become a source of acquisition of talent for the world's companies today. So that being the case, so we need to address certain critical issues like what we are doing, is it what we are expected to do? Can we do a little more planning as to see that this gap is reduced between the industry expectations, not only industry, when I say industry, any employer for that matter, including, we need a lot of entrepreneurs today. Most of the successful entrepreneurs didn't begin with their MBA. They became entrepreneurs by virtue of their own, their quality, their own desire, the zeal that they had, they became. But later, some of them have even gone to the MBA kind of things. But then, in MBA, if you can bring that entrepreneurial or intrapreneurial qualities and the skills and the kind of commitment and dedication, I think we are able to do better. So we need to bring in all those contents that are relevant. I'm not getting into the abstracts of these things, but then let me make a generic statement that an MBA has to be if it has to be value to the student, it has to be valuable also to the other end, the users later, the employers. So we need to keep that curriculum development not static but dynamic, keep on upgrading and updating. India is growing, the business is growing, we need a lot more MBAs. MBA is not a specialized subject for a long time, and now it is becoming a little more specific and specialized, domain specific I would say. Whether it is manufacturing, services, trading, managing a government or organization, today we need management skills. So whether it's an engineer or an arts or a science or a commerce graduate or a biotechnology or a scientist, even a doctor, even doctors are doing MBAs today, managing a hospital administration and kind of things. So one common component which is talking about general management areas, the other things are becoming now more specialized, like how to manage a construction company, how to manage an infrastructure company, how to manage a health services company. So things are becoming more and more specific when it comes to the delivery part of it. What we need to address is that there are certain sectors in India growing faster than the other industries. So we need to identify, develop curriculum, and there's got to be a talent pool which is constantly working on curriculum upgradation, updating. At the same time, it has to be standardized. We need a system, the governance. The government should, instead of trying to regulate the growth of the industry in education and constrain the scope for development, they would rather should focus on setting standards, okay, and then allow it freely to develop. And that way we can grow faster, better, and we'll be able to produce many more. In fact, if you look at, everybody accepts that we have the largest youth population in the world in terms of percentage, and if this youth has to be effectively deployed in future, and if we have to create opportunities for them, we should not constrain in our education system. There will be more and more space for development, and there are more people entering into it, bringing that professionalism and competent people coming into it. Things becomes cost-wise, it becomes economic. At the same value-wise, it becomes much richer. So we need to create that. The scope is umpteen. So tomorrow the world will look at India as a source for the best talent. It's already, they're experiencing it. And another thing we need to address. Now why a lot of students would like to go abroad and do an MBA or even for that matter other courses. If you allow institutions to grow to match the global standard, we save a lot of foreign exchange resources. Not only that, others will start coming in here. So the role of regulatory bodies today is more of development rather than regulating and control. We must come out of that regulation and control, rather make it facilitation, give good governance, create a system where within that they operate, and that way we will be able to grow better. Our students, ultimately who are the beneficiary? The country is the beneficiary. Our youth, the youngsters, they get better opportunities, and the institutions will also grow in terms of efficiency, in terms of their own capability, and then we create a brand themselves.
You have already given a very useful and authoritative information on subjects related to MBA. Let me just ask you one last question. We were very curious to know from you a few interesting things that you could mention about Institute of Business Management and Research from the point of interest for a MBA aspirant.
Certainly, Institute of Business Management and Research is founded by, in fact, ordinary people doing extraordinary things. The people from the grassroots level came in, they shared the vision, and they wanted to create institutions. Some people came with industry backgrounds, some with even the rural development and agriculture background, and the finance and things like that. The trustees came together, and it all started in a second tier city and then moved to the bigger cities like Bangalore, Ahmedabad and Delhi. So here is an institution that came from this way. We have shared value that whatever we do should be relevant to the society, and our products, the students who come out should gain some knowledge and some value as they come out of the institution. We would like to build an alumni, the alumni that is there, which is connected to our institution for lifetime. Okay, kind of a value that we, and then we provide facilities and connection throughout so that they can contribute back to the institution, at the same time create new programs. The institution offers MBA programs in all the campuses. We have diversified into the graduate level programs. We are education partners with industry bodies like CII.